Hello and welcome to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale. Lower Merion Township has 7 fire companies that make up the Lower Merion Fire Department. It includes the borough of Narberth. And no one is more committed to keeping the residents of Lower Merion and Narberth safe and out of harm's way than James McCoy, Chief of the Department. Chief, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brady. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. And I will just say a programming note is I am very fortunate to be a member of the Gloucester Fire Company, so volunteer firefighting is something that I take very seriously. I've been fortunate enough to do since I was 16 years old. That's when you could start here in the township. And, met you along the way and have watched you now rise to Chief of Department, so congratulations. It's a fairly new position that you've assumed the role of, but the name change, what channeled that?
So when my predecessor left and went to Harrisburg to become the state fire commissioner, they did a search. And during the search, one of the things we found was probably renaming the department head. It's a chief of the department. So we have 7 companies in our volunteer fire department that make up the Lower Merion Fire Department as a whole. So why not make the person in charge the chief of the department? So when we started sitting down and rewriting some of the codes, we figured that was probably the best way to start. And what it does, it makes it attractive for the future. So when the next candidate wants to come in, he knows his role is he's the chief of department. He's the head of the 7 fire companies. He's the head of operations and administrations. So it was an easy fit.
You mentioned administrations. You don't work alone. You have a staff underneath you of deputy fire marshals as well as an administrative assistant. If you could you tell us a little about your staff?
Sure. So I'm very fortunate. We have 3 deputy fire marshals, soon to be next year, adding a 4th. And our administrative assistant, Melissa. Melissa really runs the office.
And I can attest to that. I know that.
Like any good office, there's always somebody in charge. She's in charge. She's our leader. She keeps us going every day.
And there's a lot that happens every day. As a matter of fact, the last time we attempted to film this segment, you had to get called away to an emergency. What is the day-to-day operation as the chief of department like?
So we kind of have a mix of everything. So the chief of department runs the everyday operations of the fire department. We oversee the 7 fire companies when we go to a call. Administratively, we work to make sure their needs are met. So the 3 deputy fire marshals also work in capacity they do fire investigations, they do fire inspections, we do a lot of community outreach programs, a lot of educations. As we talked, we tried to do this last week. We had a fire in a restaurant in Bryn Mawr, so it brought our team up there along with the volunteers of the township and career firefighters, and we successfully contained the fire to a kitchen, spread a little bit into a ductwork, but we all work as one single team.
Now, of the 7 fire companies, some have different specialties. Can you elaborate a little bit on what one fire company might do that another has a different specialty or a different set of training?
Absolutely. So we have built within the Lower Merion Fire Department some rescue companies, water rescue companies. We have a company has an air light truck that will come to an incident and supply us with air after event. So we'll go back to the water rescue companies. They are our main individuals that help cover the Schuylkill River in the event of a boating accident, somebody gets hurt. They are trained to go into the water with their boats to rescue individuals. We have vehicle rescue companies that will go to an accident. They will go and use the jaws of life to open up a car, remove the car away from the person, hopefully get them out of a car, and turn them over to EMS people.
All of this obviously involves a lot of training. In the Lower Merion Fire Department, where does the training take place and how often do these firefighters and the volunteers train?
So when you join the fire company, you start your training right at home. Whatever volunteer fire company you join, they'll start their training program and then they will get you ready for the county fire program. There is a requirement of 188 hours to become a certified firefighter. So those are classes that you will take in person up at the fire academy. Today you can do a couple early ones online to help you start the process. But over the course of 6 or 7 months, you'll give up weekends and nights to go up and start from the basics on how to put your gear on, how to use tools, how to search and rescue, hose operations, the full gamut of the fire activities that we do each and every day. So your training really starts at home with your own company. There are normally 2 or 3 nights during the course of a month that you'll go there, get to learn your trucks, get to learn your equipment, At the same time, you'll start your Fire 1. Then you progress from there. There are other Fire 2 classes. There are interior operations. We talk about our specialty companies. There's water rescue companies that have the water rescue training. You have the vehicle rescue training. We have specialty rescues for trench rescues, things like that. So we have a very fortunate active fire academy that offers probably 20 courses every semester for our firefighters to hone their skills.
And the fire academy is in Conshohocken, correct?
Correct.
But we have our own training grounds right here in Lower Merion next to what is commonly known as the dump down in Penn Valley. How fortunate are we to have something like that, and where did that come from? How did we come up with this idea to have our own training ground?
So we've been very fortunate. I started as a volunteer in the township in 1985, and we had a training tower back then. I believe it goes back to the 70s when the commitment of the township and the fire department put together a training tower. And what it is, it's a concrete building that allows us to do live burn. So it allows our firefighters to feel a little bit of what the fire is like, how smoke travels through a building, the ability to move hoses up and down staircases. And we're fortunate. I mean, we're probably one of a handful of communities in the area that have our own training grounds. We're able to, once a month, each fire company has a date they go down. They're able to do that live training. We also have the grounds that we do vehicle rescue training. So we're fortunate that we have a large area dedicated by the township, maintained by the township, that we can do live burns and do all sorts of training.
Recently, there's been a lot of discussion across the state of Pennsylvania about volunteer firefighting and sustaining the numbers, recruitment and retention. What is the biggest, or is that the biggest difficulty facing, firefighting right now?
I think there's probably a couple things there. Recruitment retention is big, but also call volume. Call volume is probably something that hurts us and helps us. People want to ride on fire trucks and want to go to calls, but we also don't want to run to the same nuisance calls all the time. We want individuals to be a little more aware at home. When you're cooking, make sure you have your ventilation system on. If you have somebody working in your house, put your fire alarm on test, so we're not going to run needless calls. We need a dedication on both the homeowner side, which then comes back to our volunteer firefighter side. Recruitment is real big, and we have a lot of incentives that the townships put together with the help from the state. We've allowed tax credits now. We have parking programs. So we have these incentives to help bring firefighters into our community.
You mentioned about the homeowners and the community doing their part. In terms of public education, I know we have ordinances in place regarding work that's being done at homes or the alarms being on test or not being on test. How would someone know that? Would they call your office?
So you can call our office at 610-645-6190. We have PSAs on our township website. We have monthly letters we put out through the Township e-newsletter that kind of gives you hints on what to do, what not to do. So there's always a little fire safety tidbits here and there that we try and get out to the community every month.
So it's best then to reach out, and whether it's through a contractor or the homeowner themselves, because a lot of times, there's a lot of development going on in Lower Merion. There's a lot of folks who are, renovating their homes or even doing maybe work outside, or there might be gas lines, things of that nature. So best bet is just to call the office?
That is true, and we've been very fortunate. We've partnered with our building department. So when someone goes to apply for a permit for doing a project or house, they're giving a flyer, and the flyer is a sticker that talks about if you're having work done in your house, cover your smoke detectors, call this number, put your alarm on test, contact your alarm company. So we're trying to put out as much information as we can from the beginning when a contractor comes in. Sometimes we have people doing work at their house that don't pull permits, or it doesn't require a permit, then causes the issue. So then we have to do a face-to-face education program with them.
A lot of people get nervous or even embarrassed when the fire truck shows up to their house. What a lot of people don't know is that there's volunteers within the cab of that truck. Is there a fine associated with nuisance alarms or?
There's a fine system built in, but it's pretty much out after you get 4 false fire alarms. In Lower Merion, we put a construction ordinance in. If a contractor sets a fire alarm off, they will be fined immediately. They've taken the steps to go and do the work but not properly safeguard the house. They're going to be fined for that. But for a homeowner, the state gives you 3 false fire alarms a year. We try to make it 1. If you have a false fire alarm, we try and follow up with you, trying to walk you through the process, trying to give you some hints how not to happen again. They do. There's times that there may be a second one that comes in, but through the help of all our fire chiefs and officers, they will call us after they go to a false fire alarm if they found something that wasn't right, and one of us from the office will follow up and help educate the homeowners. So we try and alleviate those calls.
Great. Well, a lot of information in this first part. We do have more coming up in just a few moments, but we're going to take a quick break here with the Chief Fire Officer of Lower Merion Township, James McCoy. Welcome back to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale, and I'm here today with James McCoy, the Chief of the Fire Department here in Lower Merion Township. Chief, thank you so much. We had a really good discussion in the first half there, and we touched a little bit about recruitment. One thing that's neat about Lower Merion Township's Fire Department is it's considered a combination department. Why don't you tell us what that means first, and then we'll get into how you can become a volunteer.
Gotcha. So we're very fortunate. So we have a very large core of volunteers, but also each station has paid personnel. So each station has three paid personnel. 2 work during the day, Monday to Friday, and then 1 works at nighttime. Then Saturday, Sunday, there's 1 there. And they are the individuals who take care of the station. They drive the trucks. They fight the fires. They work side by side with the volunteers. So what it allows us to do is have a driver in the station 24/7 and allows us to get a truck out quickly. That's kind of rare in some areas. Some places are all strictly volunteer, or some are all strictly career. So we have a very good mix where we partner with each other to make the Lower Merion Fire Department who we are.
Now, because of the volunteer side, there's a little bit of a savings when it comes to the taxes here in Lower Merion Township. How pivotal is that when it comes to budget season, that we have this combination department and we're able to save some money, but also have a thriving and very professional fire department?
So if you were to look at the public safety budget, you can see majority of it is for our police department. The fire department has maybe a small 12 to 15% of it. If we had to have a full paid fire department, your numbers would be probably 6 to 7 times our normal budget right now. The volunteers save the township a total of, you just couldn't calculate the number, because we're putting anywhere from 100 to 150 volunteers on the street at any given call when we need it to help the residents of the township.
And these volunteers, they're waking up in the middle of the night, they're leaving their homes. A lot of the training that they do is during the week or on weekends, spending a lot of time away from their families to give back to the community. If someone wanted to join the fire department, how would they go about that? Their local firehouse, is there a way that they can knock on a door or give a phone call?
So we're very fortunate. We have a very aggressive recruitment and retention committee. They do mailers. You could see some signs in some of the windows around businesses. But they also have a website, Join LMFD, which will allow you, similar if you're looking for who your commissioner is, you put your address into that. It'll tell you who your local fire company is, where you want to go join, and then you can go either on a Monday night or a Wednesday night, depending on when they're there, and just walk in the door, introduce yourself, fill an application, and be part of the family.
And so the application process at each fire company is different throughout the township. Wait a few weeks, hear back, start the initial training, be fitted for uniforms, things of that nature. But the core training, the training that's required by the state, and you have to go to the fire academy for. You talked earlier about the 180, was it 188 hours?
Correct, 108.
So when that's completed, what will that allow a volunteer to do?
So what it allows you to do is you become an interior certified firefighter. That allows you to put an air pack on, ride the truck. Obviously, you need to pass all your certifications in your firehouse, able to know what the equipment is. But this will give you the ability to crawl down a hallway with a hose line, put a fire out, use your education certification that you've learned over the last 6 months, 8 months, a year, to be one of your frontline firefighters.
I know this from having the good fortune of being a volunteer, but there's a lot of success stories within the volunteer fire service. A lot of firefighters who have started their careers as volunteers and then moved to the career side, yourself included, but also those who have gone on to do great things throughout the community and everywhere else. What would you say about the camaraderie and growing up around a firehouse or having those mentors? What would you say about the importance of that brotherhood that we hear so much about within the fire service?
I'm going to be old when I say this. So I started as a volunteer in 1985. And you joined your local firehouse, and then you saw your mentors. You saw businessmen, you saw doctors, you saw lawyers, you saw individuals that volunteered, gave their time to come in and be part of the Lower Merion family. You can look around today. We have police chiefs, we have business owners, we have very successful lawyers, we have doctors, we have moms and dads, we have parents, both male and female, that have joined the fire service that work side by side. We have generations. I mean, if you look at Lower Merion Fire Department, we are generation heavy. We have the chief of Bally Kinwood, who's now the third generation chief of his company, dating back to the early 1900s. The chief in Marbeth, he's the second generation, along with the families there. So you look around, there's a lot of father-sons, father-daughters. So we're very fortunate that Lower Merion is a nice, tight-knit fire service, and we have a lot of individuals that really care about their community and give back to the community.
2 summers ago was a really hard time for the Lower Merion Fire Department, and certainly a few days that we will never forget as residents, but also being involved with the fire department. And that was the loss of Sean DeMonk in Penwyn, as well as the loss of Thomas Royds in Belmont Hills. Terrible time for everyone, but that's the reality of the fire service and the dangers that these volunteers put themselves up against. How do we memorialize Tom and Sean and in the training that we do, and that the brotherhood that we just spoke about? How important is that?
I mean, I think the important thing is you get back on the truck every day. You go and you work in their name to make us a better fire department. Yeah, there were 2 terrible days, 19 days apart, that you just don't want to ever deal with again. But it brought the department closer together. It brought the department to a point that we want to make ourselves better every single day. We're going to train. We're going to work on their memory. We're going to make Lower Merion Fire Department who we are, and be second to nobody. And we do that every day in their name. And then members, I mean, we've had members that passed years ago, so we work for all them also.
Absolutely, and that's what the training component and these volunteers reminding our residents how important it is that these are volunteers, as well as the full-time staff who are on these trucks who give more than their time to this community, and it's selfless, and it's just a wonderful thing.
Firefighting is a very dangerous business. You can look, fires double every 30 seconds. Yes, there's fire protection in place. Commercial buildings, fire alarms, sprinkler systems. Residential buildings, some have sprinkler systems. But majority of our houses are houses that were built anywhere from the early 1900s on. They're large houses. So if we get a fire in one of them, it's a lot of work to get it contained. It's a lot of work to make sure we do it safely. We try and save as much as the house or possessions as possible in the safest way we can do it. But firefighting is a very dangerous business.
We have a couple minutes left, so let's learn a little bit more about you. As we mentioned earlier, you're new to the position here as chief of department. However, you've been in the township for quite some time now. When did you begin in the township?
So I became a deputy fire marshal in 2005. Before that, I started as a volunteer in Ardmore in September of '85. And stayed at till 2005 when I resigned as an officer and became a full-time deputy fire marshal. And I've been doing that ever since. In 2021, when Chief McCoy left, went to Harrisburg, I stayed, and I would stay and help wait for the new person to hire. Well, the new person became me, which I stay and I fully enjoy. I enjoy what I'm doing right now. So it's been a great run. I've got a few more years left to do it, but I've been very lucky. I'm around a great team of firefighters and individuals in the township.
Did you always want to get into the fire service?
I did not, actually. If you remember Chief Knorr, So when I started as a volunteer, I started at the Township Training Committee. He came to me and said, let's help move our training forward, which I said, okay. And worked with him back and forth. But I had a family landscaping business that my dad and I ran together for years. And then in late '04, there was an opening in the office from retirement. So we were having lunch one day and we just started talking. He goes, maybe it's something you want to have a career change. So having a conversation at home with my wife and then my parents, and said, maybe it's time for us to slow down a little bit. Lo and behold, here it goes.
Well, and you've
18
done,
years later.
You've done pretty well for yourself. That's exciting. Now, outside of work, obviously, it's 24/7, 365, so you never really know when the pager's going to go off or when you're going to get called to something. But outside of work, what do you like to do to kind of blow off some steam or some hobbies?
I'd probably grab my golf clubs and go. I love the 4 hours of just a quietness, go for a walk, swing a golf club. My wife and I go play together a lot.
And you had a pretty historic summer. I heard that there was a hole-in-one.
There was. This was my second one this year.
Second one in the same year?
Second one same year.
That's pretty impressive. Congratulations.
Yeah. It was pretty good. The first one was winter golf, so we were just banging around playing the ball and happened to put one in. But yeah.
Now, do you frame the ball? Do you keep it?
No, I actually lost it a couple holes later.
That's golf. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I had one about 4 years before that. So I officially have two on the wall hanging, with the third one as a mulligan play day.
That is great. Well, we have just a minute or two before we wrap up. Chief, is there anything else that you would like to share about the Lower Merion Fire Department or let our residents at home know?
Well, I would think that the most important thing is if you want to be part of our family, go stop by one of your firehouses. We're always looking for volunteers. And not only the fire side, but on the administrative side. If you want to help
the board
with
level.
the board level, they're always looking for some people that want to give their time. The township has been very fortunate. They have pushed together and offered some tax credits. They partnered with the school district to help move some tax credits on that side, so we can help compensate a little bit of your time. But the best part, you're going to become a part of the brotherhood. You're going to be part of the Lower Merion Fire Department family. You're going to meet some great people. You're going to meet friends that you're going to have the rest of your life. And every day will be a good day. Occasionally might be a bad afternoon or a bad morning, but most of the days are always good.
Well, it's been a great time to chat with you here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We really certainly appreciate it and learning more about the Lower Merion Fire Department. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but it's been an absolute pleasure to learn more about our fire department. I want to thank you, Chief, for being here with us.
Brady, thank you for being a part of our family too. I mean, you are an asset to us, not only on the training committee, but on the recruitment retention committee. And we thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. And I will say, just a shameless plug for the fire department. It absolutely changed my life. I joined when I was 16 years old, and it got me involved in community service. It got me involved in this township, and it has really helped me, my professional demeanor and things that I've been fortunate to do outside of the volunteer service. Met a lot of mentors who have absolutely changed my life. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Really.
All right, Chief. Well, that's all we have today for Township Talk. Thank you so much for joining us at home, as well as the Chief. If you see him around town, make sure you give him a wave. In the meantime, we'll see you next time. If you have any questions or want to find out more information about frequently asked questions for the fire department, you can head to their website on the Lower Merion Township website, as well as their Facebook page. I'm Brady McHale. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.